Hello and welcome back to the KCC channel. I'm Rob and I hope you're having a wonderful day today. Today we're jumping into some malicious compliance. Before we start, if you haven't yet, make sure you check out the KCC Discord listed at the top of the description down below. You can talk to me there and a bunch of KCC fans. It's completely free and I look forward to seeing you there. Our first story today comes to us from Sato-san. Won't fix your buggy software that costs us thousands of dollars per year? Fine, pay our bills then. Let's jump right in. I am the AV supervisor for a large company that hosts events. Specifically, I look after quotes for the technical side of corporate events, giving clients access to projectors, microphones, speakers, etc. for their large corporate presentations, meetings, and whatnot. I also manage and brief the floor crew who actively run the events. We use a program to book our equipment which, while powerful, is a bit laggy on the average computer and is also extremely expensive per year. About $2,000 per user per year, and there's about 30 of us in the company that use it. Relative to how much our company makes per year, it's a pretty hefty cost. It's a good program when leveraged properly, but sometimes it can drive you mad with its weird way of doing things. One important feature of the program is that it tracks the booking of all equipment everywhere, including time for packing it into a room and packing it out of the room. This is useful because it prevents our team from overbooking equipment. If it's not available, the system won't let you book it. There's no way around that. If I am short on equipment, I can book extra equipment from another rental company and on-charge that to the client, when I know in advance that I need to do that. Anyway, cue big presentation from the booking company showing their latest version of the booking software. It's great, it's faster, it's better than ever. We have a busy week come up and I am flat out floored with paperwork, pulling a 60-hour week. Our company is fantastic with overtime. We don't get overtime pay, but we do get time in lieu. Our bosses are totally cool about it. So if I work 1 hour overtime, I get 1 hour off the following week. Do a 60-hour week and you get 20 hours off later. Anyway, one of my floor crew comes to me. Hey, OP, this equipment isn't available. We've already got it out on another event. What? It should be available? No, it's definitely not. I just set it up for another event 2 hours ago and that event is running for 3 days. Cue me running back to my desk and rechecking all my paperwork. FYI, equipment lists going out for events is often over 100 lines long. Hence why we don't do manual checks for overbookings. The system should do it. As it turns out, all our equipment was overbooked multiple times. In many cases, overbooked on 3 events or more. I make multiple phone calls to rental companies and bring in rental equipment on short notice. That's expensive, and I can't charge it to the client on such short notice. If you took our expected profits for that week, you could add a negative symbol onto the front and that'd be our new profit. I log a job with the company that makes our booking software and then proceed to double check all our upcoming events. Oh boy, a lot of overbooked equipment. Note, these events are often independently created by multiple people at different times of the year. There's no way they'd themselves check if the equipment was available. It's just not feasible. Hence why we rely on the system that up until now worked. The booking software company is extremely dismissive, saying that it's a rare glitch and that they'd look into it. Cue 1 month later and still no fix. I'm now spending significantly more time double checking all of our events for overbooking. The booking software company still doesn't care about a small-ish company like us. Frustrated, I ask my boss for a copy of our service agreement with the company. He's as annoyed with the situation as I am, so we go through it together. Turns out there's a clause in there saying that the booking company would provide compensation in the event of total system failure, in the event that the system can't even be accessed. Well, we definitely call this a system failure of sorts. Its failure is costing us a lot of money, so we send the bills of all our rentals that cover overbookings to the booking software company. That gets their attention quickly when the total bill amounts to more than triple how much they make off of us each year. Booking software company says, "Hey OP, what's with these bills? Here's the job reference you still haven't responded to after 2 months now, and here's the link between each rental and each event that's overbooked." There's no way the system is letting you overbook equipment, and you can't send the bills to us for every event that's overbooked. Alright, let's test it. The booking software company shares their screen as well. Logging into our version of the booking system, they proceed to book some equipment that should 100% not be available. True to their word, the system doesn't let them do it. I then book the exact same equipment on the exact same event, but from my computer, my boss as witness. The system lets me do it without any alarm. This surprises them, and they start talking about potential fixes. They also say they're willing to pay for the rentals up until now. 2 months later, we're still billing them for every rented equipment, and they're still paying without questioning, and we still don't have a fix. I've changed the procedures to check for overbooked equipment though, so we aren't running around like madmen trying to fix things last minute anymore. It's interesting to me that the company didn't just roll you back to a previous version of the software that they knew worked while they tried to work out the bugs on the new one. That ended up costing them a lot of money. Makes you wonder how many other things this company was doing wrong. Do me a quick favor, have a look down below the video. If that subscribe button's still red, it means you're not actually subscribed to the KCC channel. Please hit that subscribe button for more daily Reddit stories. Our second story today comes to us from Kath Joy. Make up a BS lunchtime policy to appease the office drama queen? Sure, I'll follow it to the letter. Let's jump right in. Many years ago, I worked in back office support in a large office with lots of departments. Generally speaking, we had core hours, especially for lunch. Core lunch hours were between 12 and 2, meaning you had to take your lunch sometime between 12 and 2. Different departments had different rules for lunch depending on their needs. For example, the call center had a strict rota for when people could take their lunch since they needed constant phone cover. However, I was in back office support. Things were a lot more relaxed because we rarely took phone calls. Most of our work came in the form of tickets and tasks logged through our system and emails from other departments with general queries. The only requirement was that at least one manager and 2 members of staff had to be there at all times in case a colleague from another department needed to see us or, in an emergency, call us. So generally, we could take our lunch anytime we wanted as long as it was between 12 and 2. There was no policy telling us when to take our lunch aside from the one I already mentioned. I would always take my lunch at 12:28. The reason was I actually wanted to take it at 12:30, but one of our call centers was the floor above us and they stampeded down the stairs at 12:30. I had been in an accident some years ago that gave me issues with my back and hips, so I could be a little unsteady on the stairs, so I left at 12:28 so I could avoid the call center stampede. I suppose I could have gone at 12, but the staff canteen was never set up and never had food ready at 12, hence why I left at 12:28. Now, I always restarted work at exactly 1:28, sometimes a few minutes earlier. An hour was far too long for me, so I was often back at my desk nursing a coffee while scrolling through my phone, which we were allowed to do as long as we were on break, by around 1 p.m. as well. However, if a colleague came to me and asked for help, I always helped and just added the time I was helping them to my lunch. So if I spent 10 minutes helping a colleague, I'd come back at 1:38. All this would be logged in our timesheet. I wasn't doing anything outside of policy. We were allowed to do this. Anyway, one of my colleagues had obviously noticed. Let's call her Mindy. Mindy considered herself the queen bee of the office. Everything had to be done her way. She was perfect, and she always tattled on people for petty stuff. Like that one of our colleagues used too many staples, or that colleagues were literally a few minutes late, or took too many pee breaks. She literally had a tally of how many drinks and pee breaks everyone took so she could tattle. She even once tried to tattle and say one of my colleagues came in drunk, and she could smell it on her breath. What she could smell was Lemsip and cold meds. The colleague she was tattling on had a cold. Unfortunately, Mindy was also our manager's favorite employee, so she got away with a lot. So she tattles to our manager about how I'm always leaving for lunch 2 minutes early and yet often come back late. My manager tears me a new one for this. I explained to him that the times I come back late are when I've helped a colleague and he should see it logged on the sheet. I also explained why I leave at 12:28. He then says, yes, well, whether it's 2 minutes or not, we have core hours in this office. I say yeah, 12 to 2. I can take my lunch anytime between 12 and 2. 12:28 is within those core hours. So he then tried to say no. In our department, we have a policy of 12:30 to 1:30 to make sure enough people are in the department. I say I've never heard of this policy. This has never been the case. But he brushes me off and says, you take your lunch at 12:30 and come back at 1:30. You don't deal with any queries or anything that will delay you. Just take your lunch on time and come back on time. No exceptions. Okay then, that's exactly what I'll do. No matter what I am doing, even if I'm in the middle of a task, I get up and go to lunch. Even if I'm at my desk and a colleague comes to me, I tell them I'm on lunch and to come back later. Then, surprise, surprise, Mindy comes along with an urgent query at 1:10. I look her dead in the eye and say, sorry, I'm on lunch. She storms off to our manager to tattle on me. I get called into his office because she had lodged a complaint against me for bullying her and being uncooperative. Mindy is in the office with my manager acting as a mediator, and he asks why I refuse to help her. She's grinning maliciously with her trademark, "You're going to get it" face. She spoke to me at 1:10. I had 20 minutes left of lunch. You said the policy is 12:30 to 1:30? No exceptions, I said, smiling. Mindy looked like she wanted to slap me, and my manager was furious but knew he couldn't do or say anything because that was what he said. Eventually, the manager ended up being promoted and moved to another department. Our new manager had no patience for Mindy's excessive tattling, and at one point shouted at her, "This isn't primary school and I'm not your teacher. Go back to your desk and focus on your own work instead of everyone else." The new manager also rescinded the no exceptions BS policy my manager had made on the spot, and as long as we came back on time and didn't leave the department understaffed, she couldn't care less when we took our lunch. I love how OP was trying to manage their time right down to the minutes, and it makes you wonder how much time Mindy was spending just by tattling on everybody at every situation. New boss at the end of that story definitely did themselves a favor by putting Mindy in their place. Our next story today comes to us from Lucario Stormblade. My job or my education? Which one will get me better options? Let's jump right in. When I was going to college for criminal justice, for those curious, I had taken up a part-time job working at Awful House as a part-time prep cook, under the delusion and promise that they would work with my schedule. Everything was fine for the first half of the semester. I was finishing classes at 3 p.m., getting dressed for work, and clocked into my job at 5 p.m. sharp to work 5 to 9 p.m. 5 days a week. Then comes the finals, which in my college ran a different schedule than my actual classes for some reason. Don't ask me why, I don't work in administration. It was weird to me as well. My Monday and Tuesday final were okay, as they finished by 2:30 p.m. Wednesday's final finished at 4:30 p.m., and Thursday and Friday's finals started at 2 p.m. and finished at 5 p.m. Since college and my job were across town, and I was either walking, taking the bus, or riding a bike, I knew I wasn't making it on time to clock in at my scheduled time for Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. So as I handed my final schedule to my manager, I had asked for later work times those 3 days, or let me work that weekend to make up for the time I would be missing. "You need to choose, your work or your education," the manager replies. "You college kids give me nothing but trouble." "But sir, you said you would work with my college schedule, and this final schedule is important," I tried to say back. "No, I said I would work with your college schedule. As this final schedule doesn't exactly align with your college classes, I'm not obligated to work with it. If you don't like that, you can just quit." "No problem," I replied, taking off my apron, visor, name tag, and was about to take the shirt off when the manager squeaks out, "What are you doing?" "I'm quitting, effective immediately. You won't comply with my finals? You're not obligated to?" I used air quotes on that. So in order to assure a passing grade in my classes, I have to attend the finals. Took my shirt off and piled everything on his desk. I grabbed my other shirt that I had worn in that day, put it back on, and walked out. I never worked another food job again. So as was mentioned in the comments on this one, they seriously made you choose between college and part-time prep cook job at Waffle House? Are you serious? They thought you'd actually choose Waffle House? Last story for the day comes to us from LMF Design. This might be too spicy for you. Let's jump right in. My mom told me this story last weekend of something that happened to her back in the late 70s or early 80s. She worked in a belt factory that employed a diverse array of people, folks from all over the world and with different backgrounds. One of the friends my mom made was Azra, a woman from India. Azra found out that my mom likes food from other countries, so she started bringing in homemade Indian food for her to try. Azra also learned that my mom likes spicy food, so she would bring her in homemade pickles. Indian pickle is nothing like American pickles, which are sweet or pleasantly sour. Indian pickles can be extremely spicy. But my mom was friendly and willing to try new things, so she happily ate whatever Azra brought her. One day at lunch, Azra gave my mom a container of cooked rice and some mango pickle. This particular pickle was wildly hot, but by now, my mom had built up a tolerance for spiciness and eagerly tucked in. The factory also employed men who were on work release from a nearby prison. Some of these guys were cool and trying to put their past behind them, not Sylvester. He was a real jerk, always being mean to people, including my mom. While mom was eating the rice and mango pickle, Sylvester came up to her and said, all tough like, "What's that you're eating?" "Oh," responded mom, "it's Indian rice and mango pickle." "Gimme some," demanded Sylvester. This isn't the first time Sylvester had bothered my mom, but she thought she could make it the last. Batting her eyelashes innocently, she said, "I'm not sure you'd like it, Sylvester. It's pretty spicy." But like the rude bully he was, he insisted she give him a taste. So she gave him a big spoonful of rice, making sure there was plenty of mango pickle to give it some flavor. Sylvester grabbed the spoon and shoved the food into his mouth. As a big, tough alpha male, he couldn't let on that the food was anything but delicious. But it was clear that he was suffering. He finally swallowed it down. After that, he left my mother alone. So there's a part of me that really wants to try an Indian pickle now, but I know as I've gotten older, my system really doesn't like spicy stuff anymore. I wonder if it would be worth it to give it a shot. I might have to ask Rahul, my editor, because he's Indian. He might be able to suggest how I could make some of this. We'll give that a shot. Check out all 4 OPs linked in the description down below. Don't forget to join the KCC Discord linked at the top of the description. I thank you for watching, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.